Mrs. Chain,
remarried.
You brought this case before the court. What's going on?
So we were friends. We went out for drinks after a promotion and everybody else left. It left us two, had a little too much to drink. Anyway, I ended up pregnant. He's completely out of the picture. Doesn't answer text calls, whatever. All of a sudden he comes to me and says he wants to be a part of our kid's life. And I said, okay, well, you're gonna have to give me child support. I'm not just gonna let you.
Right from the start, Mrs. Chain lays it all out. Friends, drinks, an unplanned pregnancy, and a father who was nowhere to be found for a year. That immediate emotional weight sets the stage. You can feel her frustration when she says he suddenly wants to be part of their child's life but refuses to pay child support. What would you do if someone came back after disappearing for so long?
All of a sudden be dad. And
how old is the child?
He's 18 months.
Okay.
18 months, yep.
Okay, continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. So he's like, well, I can't pay child support, but I'll pay the daycare bill. Daycare is $8.55 a month. He claims he only makes $24,000 a year. That adds up to almost half his income if that's what he actually said. This is not the way a guy who lives a life of $24,000. That suit probably costs, I don't know, half that or something.
It is a nice suit.
I shop clearance. I do pretty well on sales.
He shops on clearance.
Oh, I've never seen that suit at JCPenney, but all right.
So $855 a month in daycare. You say you make $24,000.
She challenges his claim of making $24,000 a year by pointing out his lifestyle, like that pricey suit, which casts doubt on his honesty. The judge presses on the self-employment aspect and tax returns, showing how complicated these cases get when income isn't straightforward. Have you ever wondered how self-employed income can be so tricky to verify?
$1,000 a year.
$24,000 a year, that is correct.
And I do have his tax returns that he produced showing $24,000 a year, but you're self-employed?
That is correct.
So you did your own tax return?
I do, yes.
So is it accurate, or did you manipulate it?
If you're questioning if I'm being honest in my tax returns,
yes.
I am being honest in my tax returns, Your Honor.
Okay, okay. And I can only go based off of what he produces. I can only go based off of what he produces. Living-wise, do you live with someone?
I'm in an apartment sharing situation right now with the money I make every month and with basically close to half of my salary going to pay for daycare for our child. I've got to share. I can't afford my own place on my own.
And
living with roommates, splitting utilities, barely affording daycare, that paints a picture of someone struggling financially. Yet he's paying nearly half his income on daycare, which raises questions. If he can pay daycare, why not child support? Viewers, what do you think? Is he really doing enough or just trying to dodge full responsibility?
Expenses, they're shared between your roommates?
Pretty much we split the groceries, things like that. Utilities get split evenly.
Okay, well then that kind of makes sense. So you're asking, what exactly are you asking for him to do?
My point is that it seems kind of sketchy that he can afford almost $900 a month in daycare, but won't pay child support. I feel like there's something going on with the money situation. There's got to be a reason why he's doing things the way he does.
So you want him to pay $855 in daycare and child support?
He wants to be a part of his life.
That wasn't my question. Do you want him to pay $855 in daycare as well as pay child support on top of that?
I want us to be able to talk and discuss and find a number that works for both of us and that I think is fair. Just because I make more money than him doesn't mean I should be covering all of the child's expenses. $855 is daycare.
The discussion shifts to what's fair, child support versus daycare payments. The judge clarifies you can't double dip, paying daycare and full child support. This is a crucial legal point many don't realize. Would you have known that? This moment helps break down the legal limits and the balancing act parents face.
Definitely agree with that. I agree with that. So what is the middle ground that you're looking for? Because legally, he cannot pay daycare and child support. You can't have it both ways. So what would be a middle ground for you?
I guess we'd have to discuss what would be child support versus daycare and how the parental responsibilities would change. Would he get them on weekends? Would he get them on holidays? Things like that. So, because he doesn't live real close either.
Well, we're here today, so let's discuss it. Like I said, he cannot pay daycare on top of child support. It just can't happen. So if you were to give him a number that's in between the 24,000 that, I mean, because when you break that down based on child support for one child, it's not a lot of money. So if you were, let's say it's about $300 in child support. If you add that to 855, you're talking about child support in excess of $1,000. Are you asking that he pay $1,000 in child support?
I guess not exactly. I don't.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out why you're here and what you're asking me to do.
I guess I'm just trying to figure out what to do with the situation with him. I don't have a law degree. I don't have a...
He admits he was absent for the first year, but now wants a relationship. Meanwhile, she carried the financial burden alone. This clash of "I want to be involved" and "where were you before" brings real emotional tension. How much should absence affect financial responsibility in your view?
Lawyer, I don't know exactly how these things work.
And I'm helping you guys as much as I can.
Yeah, so I didn't know that you couldn't do daycare and child support, and I don't know what, I've never had child support before. I have no idea. I don't know what you can't do, what happens with visitation and stuff like that. He was absent the entire first year, completely absent. So I paid 100% of everything. He was in the hospital after he was born. I took care of those bills.
And you didn't give her any money?
Not at that point, Your Honor, no.
What was the reason for that?
I was effectively in the same situation I am now. Again, being self-employed, my income has not gone up. There was a little bit of a disconnect between the two of us. I probably, looking back, should have stepped in sooner, and that's all I'm trying to do now. I want to have a relationship with our son. The amount I'm paying on a monthly basis is already, again, 45% or so.
It's a lot.
Of my income. I don't know the percentages, et cetera, what I'm required to do. I feel I'm already stepping up, and by paying the full daycare, as far as I know, and I've talked to some friends, I'm paying more than I actually have to.
He actually is. Because if we were to break down, based on what it is that he makes, if we were to break down, and you only have one child, if we were to break down
that he knows of. Let's just go ahead and put that.
The judge breaks down the numbers. $340 child support based on income, plus $805 daycare, plus health insurance. The contrast between what he should pay and what he's actually paying sparks a big question. Is paying the daycare enough? Or should the child support guidelines hold more weight?
How will you know?
Well, he knocked me up and left for a year. So there might be some other women out there
Wait a minute, in fairness.
that may not be able to count how many partners they've been with, but I know it was his kid.
In fairness, he wasn't alone in knocking you up.
I get that.
You
and I
kinda
took
played
100%
a
responsibility
fair
for
role
that
in it.
child for a full 12 months.
Let's not blame it all on him. You have one child, correct? So let's stick to what is in front of us. We're not worried about any other children that may be out there. So based on the financial documents that he provided at 20%, his child support should only be about $349. And then health insurance is paid through you.
Yes.
How much do you pay?
It's like 130 or something a month. It comes right out of my check, so I'm not sure the exact amount of it.
I'm looking
130,
at
133, something like that.
I'm looking at what you also turned in. It looks like it's about $113.
13, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what we're going to do to make it fair, because he is paying about 3 times the amount that his child support should be.
Well, his bar bills are about the price of that too, so.
Well, so are yours, but as I was saying, his child support is going to be set at what the daycare.
The judge explains daycare costs are considered in adjusting child support, opening the door for deviation from standard calculations. This practical approach recognizes real-world expenses. Have you seen similar compromises in family court cases or experienced one yourself?
Amount is. That's the fairest way to do it. At least we know that by you paying daycare, the child's daycare expense is covered each month. So that's something you do not have to worry about. And you will have to reimburse her for the health insurance that she has on the child. So when you add the $855 plus the $113, it comes out to $968 a month in child support. So $968 would be all that he pays. And out of that, that would include whatever, if you change daycares, let me just make sure I'm very clear on this. If you change daycares and the amount goes up to $1,000, all he's responsible for is the $855 for the daycare. That's it. That's all you're responsible for. But the health insurance, if you have health insurance available through your job, you can enroll the child under health insurance and remove that $113 additional charge, and you'll be only responsible for $855.
To make sure I understand, so I'm already paying $855 a month as compared to the $349 that you calculated I should be responsible for. Now we're saying, well, instead of basing it off of $349, potentially lowering it.
The judge offers room for negotiation, maybe meeting in the middle, highlighting the importance of flexibility and fairness rather than strict rules. This part shows the court trying to serve the child's best interest while balancing the parents' realities. What's your take on courts allowing such flexibility?
Or at least the two of us coming to some sort of agreement saying, you know, I'm already paying 45% of my salary. I've got to pay now $968 a month, which is, again, more than double what I'm supposed to be paying in child support.
But you've been paying, although it's 3 times the amount, you've been comfortably paying this. This isn't something that she necessarily, well, when I say comfortably, I don't know your financial situation, but you've been paying it for some time.
With roommates and
right.
TV
and I
dinners.
I understand, but under Texas law, we can deviate from what the guideline support should be if we find good reason to do it. And daycare expenses, they are considered one of those reasons. Now, if you two, while you're here, you want to agree to a lesser amount, if you want to meet in the middle and say, let's say you decide to do $700, let's say you decide to say $750, that's what you can do. But based on what you all have been telling me, you've been paying daycare, it's $855. That would be in the best interest of the child to at least make sure that the daycare expense is covered. So, like I said, if you guys decide to come with something different, you can come back and modify that, and I'd be happy to enter in the number that you all come up with. Is there anything further today?
In closing, the judge confirms the monthly payment of $968, covering daycare plus health insurance, ensuring the child's needs are met. This ruling underscores how child support isn't just about money. It's about care, stability, and shared responsibility. Would you say this is a fair outcome given the circumstances?
Anything further? Okay, well, there's nothing further, you all are dismissed.
To wrap up, this case highlights the complexities of child support when income is variable and parents have complicated histories. The court balanced strict guidelines with real expenses to find a fair solution for the child's well-being. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more courtroom stories and legal insights. What case would you want us to analyze next? Let us know in the comments.